All right, so we're gonna cover this more in depth today. Okay, so here we go on recent hysteria. Now this of course is a post from Vladimir Kramnik, the former world chess champion. Post starts up, I have checked tonight a few comments and a couple of videos, the chess bra for example, on my previous post. Frankly, a lot of nonsense has been written on the web about it, but that is nothing unusual. Still, I would like to clarify things and explain my stand. Okay, while listening to Eric Hansen's YouTube video, I was quite surprised to hear something no one else says publicly, but everyone is aware of in private. Quote, in the last few years, particularly a lot of professional players, he puts this all in capitals to try and make it sound, more dramatic and everything else. He says, have either expressed to me that Hikaru is cheating or asked me if I think Hikaru is cheating. Now, there are a couple of problems with this, and we're going to start from the top. First problem with this is that very clearly there is nothing going on from like FIDE or chess.com in terms of what happens when top players behind the scenes are making accusations. Now, I have spoken in the past about the situation involving a certain other American player. Now, a lot of what happened in regards to that whole situation, or that brouhaha as people would probably like to call it, is that a lot of the top players, a lot of top 10 players, very specifically, I'm not talking about say players who are 2600, a lot of top 10 players had a lot of strong suspicions, and they even actually complained to the chess club itself before that whole incident occurred. So that's the first thing that I want to say very clearly. So actually, to me, it doesn't shock me, but the other problem with this is, who is Kramnik referring to? Most likely he's referring to several other Russian chess players. Now, I do know for a fact that the following players have either accused me publicly or in private, and two of those players very clearly are, of course, Daniil Dubov, who lost to me in the semifinals of the Chess Champions Tour in 2020, and of course Jan Nepomniachtchi, who did it much more cleverly behind the scenes. He didn't actually do anything. He didn't like ask FIDE to look at my games or anything like that, but both of those guys, for starters, I know have accused me. Now this, for example, when you say professional players, what does a lot mean? You could say you heard something from 5 players, you could say you heard something from 10 players, you could also say you heard something from 2 players, and it's not really clear cut. So let's keep going. What a coincidence. Same happened to me, and likely those were different players. I never really checked it or thought about it. Therefore, I decided to check the statistics. Okay, now we're going to talk about statistics a little bit later on, and obviously this was published last night, so everyone has had time to digest it. I strongly believe that no one is Caesar's wife, and everyone who is from time to time heavily overperforming must be checked seriously, including myself, of course. Now, the problem with this whole premise is, the fact of the matter is that I do know that all my games are checked by chess.com. They literally check all my games. I believe that myself and Magnus Carlsen are the 2 players whose games they use in terms of to see baselines of how great players are playing relative to the highest performances. I think they've also used Garry Kasparov's games, if I'm not mistaken. And so when Kramnik says this about heavily overperforming and must be checked seriously, I know that chess.com looks at the games that Magnus has played, the games that I have played, the games that Garry Kasparov played, and I do believe those are metrics they use, and they look at all the games as a whole. So that's the first thing that I'm going to say about this, which Kramnik unfortunately seemingly doesn't realize. I mean, I guess how would he know, obviously, but nonetheless, that's the first thing to say. Now here we go. Having checked Hikaru's statistics carefully, I found numerous low probabilities performances, both of him and his opponents, some of which have extremely low mathematical probability according to mathematicians, way below 1% according to calculations of those, again, professional mathematicians. Now we're going to get into statistics in a second, so I don't want to get too deep into the weeds here, but there are a couple of problems. If we're being really generous to Kramnik, I saw statisticians actually post up, and the lowest percentage that I saw was 1.5%, lowest. And that's like if you're being really generous to Kramnik, really generous. Now the problem with this, of course, as I'll explain shortly, is that 1.5% is not saying 1.5% in a lifetime of all the games that someone plays. So Kramnik here, when he says this, he's misunderstanding the statistics. Obviously, if we're trying to give Kramnik the benefit of the doubt, he is not a statistician. So when he does say this, he doesn't truly understand what he's referring to. And obviously, if you give a mathematician a certain data set without actually like looking at it in depth, and without being like truly transparent, not cherry picking the data, it's completely different. Which, of course, to prove again, Kramnik doesn't know what he's talking about, because I did see people in my chat who showed that over those 2 days, November 16th and 17th, my performance was actually below average relative to my FIDE rating. If you take all the games from that date, my performance was below it was below the performance rating that it should be. So unfortunately it shows that Kramnik is cherry picking to try and support his biases. So let's keep going. Now to be clear, when I say those numbers, Kramnik did tweet that. He did tweet that, so he did actually give some specific numbers to be completely transparent. Okay, so one of it presented recently, more to follow. Considering all above said, leaving it without any further checking, it would be an insult to all those a lot of professional players who might be wrong in their conclusion but have full right seeing numerous highly unusual performances to ask for explanation. Now again, who are these professional players? Why don't they come out and say their names? I mean, I referred to the whole Han situation obviously before. You know, there are all these players who say things behind the scenes, and at the end of the day, these people who are saying things, they need to stand up and explain why they think that, rather than simply disliking someone. Now I did see a comment on Reddit which actually surprisingly was very insightful. I saw a comment on Reddit which was saying that essentially it sounds as though when these people say these things, it's based off their quote-unquote intuition. Now the problem with that is that if we go back to the situation that occurred over a year ago now, it makes me wonder if at the end of the day, people, when they say this, it has almost nothing to do with the actual performance. It has everything to do with not liking someone, being jealous, whatever it might be, the reasons behind it, as opposed to actually being objective and just looking at the games themselves. So all right, I already named 2 of them, and they can try to hide and pretend they haven't said anything, but Dubov and Nepo very clearly have. It's not, this is not up for debate. So let's keep going. Even if it's not my goal or legacy to give conclusions, it is obvious to me that deeper checking must take place in such cases. As I already mentioned, I'm pretty sure that every Title Tuesday that I play, my games and Magus games are checked really carefully. So this has already been debunked, whatever the name of the player. I have no idea about the outcome of this checking, which of course will never be done by chess.com. Wrong answer, Vladdy. You're completely wrong. Chess.com does look at these games, but ignoring so many huge inconsistencies is just being non-objective and completely biased, I strongly believe. Okay, there is more than one possible explanation of some statistics of the well-known streamer and chess player, but the least likely that all players involved in it are clean, mathematically and according to basic common sense combined with basic knowledges of chess. Again, we already saw that the stats that Kramnik provided were completely wrong because he cherry-picked a data set of 46 games rather than looking at all the games that were played over those 2 days. In the meantime, I would offer to make similar detailed investigations of my games and performances, would only welcome this. So hard to understand those tears and shouts of others, especially over performers. Nobody is above the law or should have special position among chess players. As I said, completely wrong for Kramnik to say this. Also, I'm pretty sure that when Kramnik had his long streak of 82 games where he's undefeated, that performance probably was outside the statistical norm of what it should be. So let's keep going. There is nothing more to tell concerning this late hysteria after my previous post. I will continue to present various true statistics, also known as my own made-up statistics, and couldn't care less about the names of the players involved because we chess players are in one boat, equal in rights, and must be treated in the same manner, whatever rating or PR some might have. So all right, let's keep going. A couple of things. First of all, there have been comments that have been deleted from this post. There were quite a few mathematicians who actually provided stats here that were deleted by Kramnik already. Let me see if some of them are still up. Let's see if any of these stats are up. Let's see. Are there stats? Are the stat comments still up, or people has he deleted all of them? The top comment though, all I read is retired chess player forgot to take his meds. Look at the classy way that a player like Vishy non-retired. You're the shameful, bitter opposite of it. Just accept that you're no longer competitive with the new top players and move on. Also, if you're accusing Hikaru, you're also accusing players like Magnus, Fabiano, and others who play on the same high level. No amount of spitting words online will treat your paranoia. Very good comment. Sort by best irrelevance, you mean? Oh, here we go. All right, so let's see. If you flip a coin 10 times, you have around 1/1000 chance of it coming up heads all 10 times. If you flip it tens of thousands of times, you'll almost certainly see numerous streaks of 10 plus heads in a row. The streaks are only fishy if you look at them in isolation. Luckily, in chess, you can also qualitatively examine what actually occurred in the games. It doesn't look like that was attempted here. Okay, so he didn't delete this one. Let's see. Let's see. What do we have? Is this a good one? Let me see. Is this a good one? Supposedly it seems basically saying Hikaru is not checked, which of course, as I already said, is not true. But let's see. It says I will use a metric. Actually, no, let's move on. Let's move to the Reddit stuff. Okay, let's move to the Reddit stuff. I almost never go on Reddit if I can help it, but let's move to this Reddit post now. I mean, I really try to avoid Reddit in so much as I can, but we're going to take a look at Reddit. So here we go. All right, let's pull up Reddit. I think actually let me make the font bigger so you guys can see it. I mean, Reddit is not a place that I try to go to very frequently, but let's keep going. All right, so here we go. We have the post this is posted by Terrible Country 7520 or 7522, which says, with all great respect to you and with all my admiration to your incredible chess career, I believe it is clear you don't fully understand how probability works. Below 1% according to mathematicians. Yes, but that's over one event. Hikaru plays thousands of games a year, so yes, you roll such chances of way below 1%, but you roll them over thousands of possible sets of 46 games, so overall he is very likely to have at least a few streaks of 40 plus wins. And yes, I am a mathematician myself. Greetings from Adam Mikiewicz, I know I'm mispronouncing it, in Poznan, Poland. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing anything there, but let's keep going. All right, consider this. You flip a coin and want to get at least 5 heads in a row. If you toss a coin 5 times, you get the probability of 3.125%, one winning scenario out of 32. But if you flip it 6 times, you get 4.6875% chance of success, 3 winning scenarios. Again, I don't know the math, let me just be clear, but he's basically saying that if you toss a coin 5 times, the chances are actually like 1 out of 32, but if you flip it 6 times, your chances actually increase. So he is a mathematician because he puts 4 numbers after the colon. Okay, 3 winning scenarios. If you flip it 7 times, it's already 6.25%. For 8, it's 7.18125%, 20 out of 256, and I'm assuming it keeps going up. I hope I didn't make any mistake here. If you only looked at the 5 tosses on which the event occurred and make a claim, this was a 3% chance event. You would be wrong because it was nearly an 8% chance. One, because it also could have occurred in different 5 in a row sequences within these 8 tosses. That's the first mistake you're making here. So first takeaway is that it's very clear that this mathematician is showing Kramnik that he's wrong, that Kramnik is trying to be an amateur mathematician and he's looking at it as a one-off event, when of course everybody, whether it's myself, whether it's Daniel, Magnus, etc., we play so many games. Okay, it's like saying a mathematician saying Michael Jordan had to cheat every time to win the finals. Yeah, and to be clear, you're not the only one who fell for this. I see this mistake made pretty much always out of instances I witnessed, of course, among respectable chess statistics commentators, sometimes even in the academic setting, with best addressing of this issue being, of course, one tournament like that can happen, but when it happens multiple times, it's suspicious. People often say something like this suspicious GM had a 1 in 10,000 performance this tournament. This must mean he cheated. And I'm like, okay, but we have, let's say 1,000 active GMs. Let's say on average they play 10 tournaments a year. I don't know if these numbers are right, but the point stands. So actually on average every year someone should have such a stellar performance. Wow. Okay, so basically this makes a lot of sense. That he's saying you have 1,000 active GMs on average. I think it sounds right. They play 10 turns, so you should have one person who has that performance. So this really shows what happens when you have someone who's like a 2,700 at math versus someone who's 500. It's only if, let's say, in a few consecutive years there are a dozen such performances, then it becomes highly unlikely that all of them are fair. But again, a few of them should be legit with high probability. Okay, now in Hikaru's case, Now Hikaru's case is of course not as simple as the coin flipping, because you need to factor in specific chances of victory in any given game. But according to the ELO system, you're expected to score this well against opposition with such rating disparity. 400 points would be 91%, 350 would be 88, 250 would be 85%, and 200 points would be, or wait, sorry, 400 points would be 91, 350 would be 88, 300 would be 85, 250 would be 81, and then 200 points would be 76%. Okay, so let's say Hikaru normally has a 70% chance to win a game against a guy with some percentage points left for draws. If he's on a really good day, because that also is a factor when we deal with humans and not coins, it may be like 90%. Now let's say over the year he has 20 days where he plays 100 games in a row with an average win chance of 90%. I encourage you to mess around with these numbers. I'm picking nice round ones here, but you can insert whatever you think reality is close to. Then the chances that he gets at least one 40+ winning streak on one of those 20 days are about 90%, as I'm estimating. Wow, so basically, wow, this is amazing. So he's saying that on average I should get a 40+ winning streak 1 out of 20 days, 1 out of 20, I think, 1 out of 20 days. So if I play the whole year, that means I'm gonna have like many days like that. Okay, and if you only looked at 90% win chance out of a specific 40 games, you get 1.48%. And on top of that, you didn't factor in the good day and just assume that every game you played with a rating disparity 70% chance of a win, you get 0.000637%. You see how enormous these disparities are, right? 1.48 versus like no chance at all. Wow. And we didn't even consider the whole year and all the games which Hikaru plays with different winning chances based on the opponent's rating and external factors. He can also get, for example, 15 wins at the end of a 60% win chance day, and the following 25 the next day when he farms some weaker players he has an 85% chance to beat. So we need to treat these games in one continuous bunch rather than separate days or whatever. All right, long story short, I believe it's almost certain that Hikaru gets multiple 40+ winning streaks a year. To get the exact answer, you'd have to model individual win chance for every game and then put a chain of events from an entire year or career and then calculate the probability of an n+ streak occurring k times. Impossible to do, but of course we can start with a simplified model and then add complexity to it as we go. For example, if we take Hikaru's last year blitz stats, we get 77.7% wins over 4,094 games. That's actually kind of insane that I've played 4,094 games, by the way. As of right now, assuming all the games to be equal, maximum simplification, we get a chance of at least 140+ winning streak, being about 3.5%. Seems low, but now let's add complexity. Let's assume he plays 750 games with 62.5 win chance, then 750 with 70%, and 750 with 77.5, and so on and so on. We have 4,000 games with an average win chance of 77.5%, still being highly simplified, but at least we recognize not all games are equal. Now we get 9.5%, which is actually really high. Now 9.5% is like, of course it's going to happen. Of such a win streak. Of course, it's still far from the reality of his games, the frequency and pattern of his farming. But the point is, the closer we get to the reality of life, when good and bad conditions for wins are not distributed evenly, the higher the likelihood of an abnormal event occurring somewhere down the line. I mean, just modeling 20 days of 100 games with 90% odds gives us a 90% chance that at some point during these 20 days, there would be a 40+ win streak. That's why I said that I believe Hikaru is mathematically expected to have at least a few such streaks a year. We just need to build an accurate enough model with still manageable level of complexity to estimate his real win streak chances over a desired period of time. If you have any questions about my calculations and reasoning, or if you would like me to perform calculations on a model with numbers given by you as you believe they are in real life, feel free to contact me. I see it as my duty as a mathematician to do such informative work whenever required. Once again, I bow my head to you and your incredible chess career, Piotr Bugai. I assume that's an I at the end. So yeah, this kind of, I think, proves the point here. When we look at this, you know, if you look at this, it's very clear that this is what happens when you have someone who's an expert in the field compared to someone who is literally a 500 and doesn't understand what they're talking about. So it's very clear that when Kramnik twists the stats and uses like one data set, he tries to make it like, oh yeah, mathematicians are going to say 1.5%. It can't happen. Unfortunately, as we see when you look at it, and this is even super complex actually. It seems like he adds factors in, but probably the assumption ends up even higher if you factor in a lot of other things like tilt and like people, you know, their whole mental breaking down. There's a very important point that I want to make too about this. I don't know if I really want to read these comments, but there was a match that was played between there was a match that was played between Fabiano Caruana and Magnus Carlsen at Speed Chess Championship. I think it was last year if I remember, and Magnus just absolutely destroyed Fabiano. They played something like 30 games, and I want to say Magnus won like 25 or 26, and there were 4 draws, or it was 22-4. Okay, it was 22-4, and Fabiano won 0 games. Fabiano had 8 draws, and I believe he had he had 8 draws, and I believe he had 16 losses if I'm not mistaken. Was it 22-4 or 23-7? Yeah, so let's just assume it's 22-4, and Fabiano has 8 draws and 16 losses and 0 wins. What are the chances of Fabiano winning 0 games? No, Fabiano won 0 games. I don't think he won any games. I think he won 0. But regardless, whatever, you guys get the point. What are the chances that Magnus Carlsen, who beats the second best player in the world, Fabiano, by such an insane margin? Fabiano won 0 games out of like 26 games. 0. What are the odds that Fabiano wins 0 games? Statistically, that is a huge anomaly. So obviously Magnus was cheating in the match, right? Because it's not possible for Fabiano to win 0 games. The only problem is, of course, Magnus was playing legit, Fabiano was legit, and at the end of the day, it's because of this thing called tilt, becoming depressed, despondent, and just feeling like, why are you even playing? Which is the reason that Fabiano won 0 games. But statistically, as a one-off event, they'd be like, yeah, it can't happen. It's just not possible mathematically. But there's so many variables that factor into this, and it just shows here what happens when a true mathematician looks at this instead of a great grandmaster who suddenly thinks they understand math when they don't understand math. So yeah, and then there are other things too, like there's the Magnus effect, there's the Hikaru effect. Like if I start pressing someone moving really fast, they get low on time, they get nervous, they blunder. All these things play into it. So yeah, I think this says a lot about the whole thing as a whole. I think it's obviously very, very clear that that Kramnik just doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, I hope that Kramnik can actually swallow his pride. You know, he is a great chess player, and he can realize that he's not a mathematician at the end of the day. He's got to realize that, because it really does make him look very, very bad. So that's the thing that I think is really important. So all right, so let's keep moving on. So here we go. Next thing we're going to cover is an article. This is from let me change the scene. This is from, I think, 2014. This is an article about Kramnik, if I'm not mistaken. Let me adjust this. Let's pull this up. Okay, let me pull this down. Here we go. Actually, there we go. All right, so next article we have to cover is this article from Chess24. This was some years back, and this article is Kramnik calls Carlsen a genius, gets icy response. After game 9 of the World Championship match, there was a curious moment in the post-game press conference. Amid the predictable questions about the draw and match strategy, a Norwegian journalist noted that ex-world champion Vladimir Kramnik had called current world champion Magnus Carlsen a genius. How did the latter feel about that? Carlsen shot back a response that may have puzzled newcomers to top-level chess tournaments. Okay. So, do I need to go down further? Okay. Here we go. Okay. What was it? Where am I supposed to go? Let's see. Okay, here we go. Let's scroll down here, because this is where I'm supposed to read. In an interview with NRK during this year's candidates, which we reported here, he actually let rip. Kramnik thinks he knows everything. It's very impressive how Kramnik reels out variations and so on, and it's not so easy to discern if you don't understand the game well yourself. But if you dig a little bit deeper, it's often nonsense. He always plays very principled chess, but the biggest difference between him and me is that he makes a lot more mistakes. Often he seems to think that he's in the right, but I'm actually right. He's very confident. He's not afraid of anyone. He doesn't think I'm better than him. He doesn't think Aronian is better than him, and he doesn't think Anand is better than him. He actually loses games to Nakamura, but he certainly doesn't believe Nakamura is better than him. So great things here, because obviously I have a plus score against Kramnik. Anand is better than Kramnik. Anand torched him in their world championship match. Levon, I don't know if you can say Levon is better or not, but still, this is really good. I don't even care if Magnus says that he loses games to me, but it says a lot. It's like Kramnik's like he's basically saying he's better than Anand, he's as good as me, he's as good as Aronian. He even loses to Nakamura. It's just like, it's really rough. This is really harsh. Yeah, and it says in the run-up, yeah, so in the run-up, he told official report, Kramnik is one of those beat me. He's very self-confident and arrogant. He thinks he can beat everyone. So if he thinks he can beat everyone, then yeah, of course he's gonna think everyone's cheating because he can't win against everybody anymore. A bit like me. Yeah, so this is great stuff. Okay, so before we move on to the Sinkfield Cup, I think the one last thing that I want to cover is I don't want to cover this in depth, but let's watch a little bit of this see you tomorrow. Let's watch a little bit of this video. I'll change the scene, of course. Give me is this the right one? Wrong one. There we go. Let's watch a little bit of this interview or this press conference between Vladimir Kramnik and Ding Liren from the FIDE. I think it was from FIDE candidates a while back, just to see if Magnus is onto something or if Magnus is completely wrong. So all right, here we go. Let me scroll up. Yeah, here we go. All right, there we go. Let's just watch a little bit. I don't want to watch too much of this, but just a little bit. Okay, here we go. Cover this. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Although actually, is there a better way to shape it? I don't know. Here we go.
The longest in this event, and probably Vladimir, you really love chess that you play every day, so extremely long. I mean, and you really try till the end. So let's start from really far away. I mean, I think it was one of the critical points after the opening.
Are there closed captions? No.
I don't know. I thought
now you should hear, right?
Much better here. I mean,
volume should be good now.
F4
no,
very good. I mean, I think it's already serious advantage for white.
Should be good. Okay.
Here, maybe I should.
Okay, so he says serious. Let me move my camera. He says serious advantage for white here in this position. Already a little bit questionable. I mean, white's probably marginally better, but I wouldn't say that white's like winning.
Should have taken with the bishop. Maybe.
It's still quiet. No,
but
it's good. It's good.
BC?
Yeah.
No, but BC bishop c5. It's just bad, yeah.
CB.
Knight b3.
Take.
Just terrible position. Take.
Bishop
Terrible
C8.
position.
Yeah, I thought it was like rook d1, knight d4. No, maybe it's not so bad. I mean,
so okay,
true, yeah.
first spot where Kramnik basically says it, and then Ding's like, no, I can take on b3. I can keep playing. It's like, wait, maybe no, maybe it's not as good as I thought. Okay, first one.
But the best. I mean, here any move rook e3. Of course, it's terrible blunder. Knight f3. I just missed d5. I mean, something like this should be better for white. I mean,
I don't think so.
Good, no?
Okay, second spot. He's like, I don't think so. This is really good. He's like, just like, I don't think so. Like,
any move rook e3. Of course, it's terrible blunder. Knight f3. I just missed d5. I mean, something like this should be better for white. I mean,
I don't think so.
Good, no? I thought white has very good Kensington. Just black doesn't have player nice. Will slowly prepare a5. But okay, it's complicated position.
Maybe d5 also here.
d5, you think it will work? I don't know, yeah, maybe it works. Oh, in any case,
I don't know, maybe it works. I don't know. Like, this is actually really funny. It's like, because Ding is just like, he's giving a move, and then you hear Kramnik's like, and then he's like, wait a second, and then he's like, I don't know, but he's like, he has all this bluster of like, I'm right, I know what I'm talking about. And you see the moment Ding actually starts giving like the precise moves, Kramnik's like, oh, okay, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't d5. Of course, I missed here. It's yeah, maybe I should play knight e5 or something, but. This actually I didn't like at all bishop f5.
Yes,
I was very worried about bishop f5.
I was wondering why you didn't play bishop f5 and knight d6. I miss his bishop d4 idea. I think it's simple to take the pawn.
Yeah, because here and it's quite sharp. Maybe I was thinking about maybe sacrificing exchange or giving it up. I mean, I don't know what is the best way to say it. No, I thought maybe this I can. It's kind of strange position. Of course, it's not. So
I don't know.
Great,
I don't think there's any more than we need to see.
I thought maybe I can just go away with my bishop, like bishop d4 or something. Knight e1, queen e1.
It's a bit different position, yes, from the game.
It's pretty much worse for white compared, but maybe it's still not so bad. But of course, that was because CD, CB. I think
everything looks great for white.
Yeah, it looks very risky CB, but seems to work because this. I mean, queen c8.
How about bishop f6? Bishop f6.
Sorry, bishop f6. F6. This I didn't like because I thought you just take, no? I mean.
Queen d3.
Yeah, and I thought it was very dangerous, just knight c3 or something maybe. or bishop f5 also. No,
A4.
I mean, I was. I mean, this, I don't know.
But by the way, I love how Ding's like a4, and after a4, White's probably just better, by the way. But like Kramnik doesn't play a4. Like you hear Ding say a4 like 3 times. Ding says it, Kramnik doesn't play the move because obviously after a4, White's just better. But anyway, that's like kind of beside the point.
No, but I think I'm doing very well here. I thought. I mean, quite well. Takes. Because this b pawn is very strong, and queen c2. I think I have b6. That was my trap. Takes queen b1. I mean rook b1, and I think I promote. And otherwise, if I stabilize here, okay, my b pawn is very strong. So I was planning to play queen c8. I don't know. But here, knight d3, bishop d4. No, I think knight e1 should be played. Yeah. I mean, it's quite unclear position. I don't know. I was not sure who is better. It's very difficult to say. I mean, like knight e4 here. And now I have different moves, maybe knight f1 or something. This was because here I think white is just better. I mean, knight f1 is very accurate move. It's better for white.
Wait. Do you see Ding? I know this is not 1080p. Ding is smiling here. Do you see that? Ding is smiling. Do you see? He's laughing. You see Ding say Kramnik is saying white is better, and Ding's like, you cannot be serious. This is actually great. Ding is literally laughing here when Kramnik says white is better. Yeah, you can see it. The quality's low, but you can see the smirk on his face. Literally, he's just like when Kramnik says white is better. Ding is about to break out in laughter here.
Are you agree about the evaluation? What do you think? I mean,
Of course.
you thought that black is better.
Yes, maybe. I was thinking about take and bishop d7.
Yeah, take bishop d7. I thought this was the best way, but I actually thought even a4. I mean, I think it's just or knight c6, which is better for white. I mean,
How about knight f2?
Knight f2. Yes, yeah. No, sorry. I actually thought even I can take. I mean, even this position might be very.
So step 1, he says a4, which allows a knight takes f2 tactic. So this is the first spot where Kramnik says one line and it's complete nonsense, and now he's going to say I can even play bishop e4. He's probably clowned on again. Let's see.
Takes knight e3. I mean, just my knights are so good. Knight c6.
Queen b6.
And it goes on.
Queen b6.
It goes
like
on.
Rook somewhere. Or I can play a4, whatever. Knight c6 maybe. No, knight e3, queen b6. I don't know if you can manage to take the pawn. Yeah. I mean, even if I play rook c4, I mean, it's only white who is fighting. I mean, can be better here.
I was just wondering what is better for black.
You see Ding? Only white can be only white can be better. Ding again is like just laughing. And Ding is a guy who actually doesn't really show much like emotion, so this is really funny to watch. Like I've played Ding a lot, and like he's generally like he's very calm, very emotionless. And here you can see Ding is just like he's just laughing at what Kramnik is saying. Yeah, you can see the smirk on his face. He's just like, you can't be serious.
Can white, I mean, to keep pieces or to exchange pieces? In the game you exchanged, but...
Yes, no, but I mean, I don't know. I thought it's clearly white is playing for a win here. I mean, black cannot win anyway. I mean, no, absolutely no chance. Only white can win.
you even hear Ding getting picked up by the microphone there. Ding is just laughing. Like you can hear Ding. You actually can hear him on the mic there. He starts laughing. You guys heard that, right? He starts laughing here.
For black and white, I mean, to keep pieces or to exchange pieces? In the game you exchanged, but...
Yes, no, but I mean, I don't know. I thought it's clearly white is playing for a win here. I mean, black cannot win anyway. I mean, no, absolutely no chance. Only white can win. And actually I thought I was completely winning at some point. I mean, here, I thought bishop h3 was a better chance. I mean, this was a decent chance, I thought, to make a draw maybe. Because this, no, I think it's just over. I mean, after e4, it's just basically lost for black. I mean,
he starts laughing again. You see it again. He starts laughing again.
It's just completely lost. I just thought it wins anyhow. I mean, it was so stupid to manage not to win this position because it's simply over. I mean,
you know, with this kind of unbalanced material,
it's
I must
simply
tell
over,
you that
right?
computers normally don't understand much.
But I mean, I thought it's just easy technical win, I mean, very simple. So I played knight e3. I mean, here, okay, knight f5 is winning, of course, also. But I mean, I thought I thought that I just stay here. I get to the time control, and then I will collect all pawns, but in fact, yeah, that was a mistake because it was not so easy. I mean, rook c3 is the simplest.
I actually don't remember this game, by the way. I don't remember this game, but...
But I should ask still your opponent what he thinks about it. Were you so also pessimistic about your position, or you?
Here I was a little bit uncomfortable. But before I was very happy about my position.
Yeah, at some point, yeah, no, at some point, I mean, but here I think I was already very happy.
After bishop e4, could you take on
No,
e4 with the bishop?
Yes, maybe I should take.
No,
with
but rook
bishop.
d1 is
No,
just,
but now you cannot make
knight e3
progress.
and okay, it's just slowly but surely white enters. I mean, okay, black has drawing chances, of course, but I mean, I just a4, knight e3, everything is protected, and
A4
then
here maybe.
Huh?
A4 here.
a4.
Good move. Very good
I
move
don't
here.
know, yeah, maybe, but still even b4, I don't know. It just looks completely lost. I mean, knight e3 and
What?
just black has no play at all.
A3.
This is not-
Yeah, knight e3 or something.
But also you didn't have a plan.
Yeah, then I will slowly f3. I mean, I don't know.
Not
I thought,
now, but-
no, of course, maybe there are technical issues still here, but white is better. I mean, no doubt about it.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't think white is actually better in this position. I actually think that white is not better. Let me see if I can set this up. I don't think white is better at this point with that bishop on e4. I'm gonna be honest. I don't actually. Let me see if I can set it up. How do I set up? Okay, how do I take everything off the board? One second, I'm just setting it up. This is let's just see. White has pawns on b5, b4. Pawns on a2, pawns on f2, g3. I'm just setting it up on my other monitor. H3. Now let's take this all off the board. Take this all off the board. Take this all off the board. Black has pawns on d5, f7, g6. Queen on b6. Queen on b6. Bishop on e4. White has knights on d4, e3. Pawn on a3. Rook on d1. King on g1. Black's king is on g8. Unload. Oh wait. Oh shoot, I just messed it up. It gave oh shoot, I messed up. Let me do it again. It just gave it as minus 1.7 for black. Just so you guys know. How do I clear board? There we go. It gives the evaluation as minus 1.7. d5. Okay, black's a pawn on a3. White has knights on d4, e3. White has a rook on d1. White has a king on g1. Black has a bishop e4. Queen b6. King g8. And load. Right? There we go. All right, you guys. So let me just pop this up. Yeah, here we go. Okay, you guys want to see the evaluation? This is minus 1.83%. This is minus 1.8. This is not even okay for what? Oh, this is not even okay for white. White is just getting cooked hard here. This is just completely lost. Completely lost. Not even close. White's just completely lost. White's completely lost, but no, I mean, the Kramnik of this position is completely winning. Now, I don't really care if he wants to say that this is like, you know, this winning or something, but what it does show is it shows that he lacks objectivity. And that is a very, very important thing. That's actually probably the biggest difference between Kramnik and almost all the other top players in the present time. So, yeah, I think we're good with that. So let me change the scene. I don't think we really need to watch any more of it, but I think this already says enough about it. Is that basically, yeah, to me, it's very clear that if you look at the top players, like Magnus will think he's winning when he's winning, but players are much more objective. Like Ding is more objective. Magnus is more objective. I would argue I'm much more objective. And I think the difference is just that it's a generation thing where the top GMs who grew up before computers, like they don't really, their perspective of chess is very different. Their understanding is that like there are certain positions that just have to be winning. It's very, very technical. It has to be good, and they really underestimate the defensive resources that that modern day computers have shown exist for human players. It's very, very clear to me. So, all right, you guys. So let's move on. I think we're good there.